Good day, wizards, and welcome to today's lesson. In this lesson, we will focus on formation of sedimentary rocks, uses of sedimentary rocks. Let's begin with sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks are made of layers of rocks. Its name comes from the Latin sedere, which means to sit. Sedimentary rock has this name because its layers sit one on top of each other. Formation of sedimentary rocks. Number 1. Rock breaks down into small grains. Over a long time, rock breaks down into smaller pieces called grains. The rock breaks down for many reasons. For example, plant roots sometimes grow in the cracks in the rock, splitting the rock as they grow bigger. Chemicals in the air and water can cause the rock to weaken and crumble. It can take thousands of years for things like this to break the rock down into smaller and smaller pieces, and finally into smaller grains. These small grains of rocks are the grains of sand and clay you learned in the previous lesson. Secondly, wizards, mud and sand are moved by wind and water. The soil to form the grains of rocks have to stay in one place for a long time. Often, however, this does not happen. The grains of rocks are moved away by wind and water. Fine grains of clay from dust when they are dry, and mud when they are wet. Dust and sand can be carried away by the wind. You might have felt the sting of these small grains of rock blowing into your eyes or against your skin on a windy day. Sand and mud can be washed away by water flowing over the surface of the earth after it has rained. They are carried down a river. Thirdly, wizards, mud, dust, and sand are deposited in low-lying areas. Let's look into that. The wind and rivers drop the small pieces of broken rocks they are carrying when they slow down or stop moving. We say that the small piece of rock are deposited. When the small grains of sand, dust, and mud have deposited, they are called sediments. When the wind slows down or stops blowing, the sand and dust carried by the winds is deposited in a low-lying area. A tuft of grass or a rock can slow the wind down enough for this to happen. Now, new layers of mud and sand are deposited on top of existing layers. Now, wizards, water and wind deposit sediments in the same place over and over again. New layers of sediments are deposited on top of existing layers. Thick layers of sediments of different sizes are built up over millions of years. Number 5. The layers become compacted and hardened and form sedimentary rock. At first, sediments are in loose layers and are not stuck together. Over time, the weight of the top layers presses down on the layers at the bottom. The grains of sand and mud in the bottom layers become tightly packed together. We say that they have become compacted.